The laughter hadn't fully faded. When everything changed. The man who had been mocked. The quiet single dad in worn clothes. Moved. Not loudly. Not angrily. Just, precisely. 1 second. He was sitting. The next. He was standing behind the loudest guy at the table. No one saw him get there. Not clearly. It was too fast. Too controlled. Say that again, Daniel said calmly. His voice wasn't raised. But something in it made the air tighten. The man turned. Smirk still half-formed. Until he realized how close Daniel was. Too close. How did you? He didn't finish. Because Daniel's hand had already moved. Not striking. Just stopping. 2 fingers. Lightly pressing against the man's wrist. But somehow. The man froze. Like his body forgot what to do next. Relax, Daniel said quietly. I'm not here to hurt you. A pause. But you should learn when to stop talking. Silence spread across the cafe. Chairs creaked. Someone dropped a spoon. The barista stopped mid-motion. Because now. This wasn't a joke anymore. The other men stood up. Confused. Defensive. Hey, back off. One stepped forward. And then stopped instantly. Daniel didn't even look at him. But somehow. He knew. 3 steps, Daniel said calmly. Then you'll regret the 4th. The man hesitated. Something in his instincts. Something deeper than ego. Told him to listen. He stopped. Daniel slowly released the first man's wrist. No force. No aggression. But the message was clear. The man stumbled back. Rubbing his arm like it had been locked in place. What are you? He muttered. Daniel ignored the question. Instead, he walked back to his table. Picked up his daughter's juice box. Adjusted the straw. Like nothing had happened. Eat your sandwich, he said gently. The little girl nodded. Wide-eyed. Around them. The cafe stayed silent. Because now. Everyone was replaying it. The movement. The control. The way it ended. Before it even started. The waitress leaned toward another customer. Whispering. Did you see that? But no one had seen it properly. That was the problem. Or maybe. That was the point. Back at the table. One of the men finally spoke again. Voice lower now. You military. Daniel didn't look up. He said simply. A pause. Long time ago. That answer. Somehow made it heavier. Because it meant. He wasn't showing off. He was holding back. The cafe owner stepped out from the back. Having heard enough to know something serious had happened. He looked at Daniel. Then at the shaken group. And instantly. He understood who the problem was. Gentlemen, the owner said firmly. I think it's time you leave. No arguments this time. No jokes. They grabbed their things. Quiet. Uneasy. And walked out. The door closed behind them. And just like that. The tension disappeared. Almost. Because now. Everyone kept glancing at Daniel. Trying to understand him. The quiet man. The single dad. The one they laughed at. Who moved like a shadow. And ended everything. In 2 seconds. His daughter looked up at him. Dad, she whispered. Are you a superhero? Daniel smiled softly. No, he said. Just someone who knows when to stay calm. A pause. And when not to. Outside. The men stood by their car. Still shaken. "Man," one of them said quietly. "We picked the wrong guy." Inside. Daniel finished his coffee. Like it was just another normal day. But everyone there knew it wasn't. And none of them would forget it. The cafe slowly returned to life. But not completely. There was still a quiet tension in the air. Not fear. Respect. The kind that comes after people realize they judged someone completely wrong. Daniel sat calmly, finishing his coffee. His daughter, still watching him. Still curious. "Dad," she whispered again. "Why didn't you tell them?" Daniel looked at her gently. "Tell them what?" "That you're strong," she said softly. A small smile touched his face. "Because I don't need to," he replied. A pause. "People who matter, figure it out." She nodded. Not fully understanding. But trusting him anyway. Across the cafe. The owner approached slowly. Careful. Respectful. "Sir," he said. "I just wanted to say, thank you." Daniel looked up. "For what?" he asked. "For not turning that into something worse," the owner replied. A pause. "Anne. I'm sorry." Daniel raised an eyebrow slightly. "Sorry?" The owner hesitated. "We've had people like that before," he admitted. "But I didn't step in soon enough." Daniel nodded. "It's handled," he said simply. "No blame. No lecture. Just closure." The owner exhaled. Relieved. "Your meal is on the house," he said quickly. Daniel shook his head. "No," he said. "We pay for what we eat." The owner insisted. Daniel declined again. Firm. But polite. And that somehow said even more about him than everything that had just happened. Near the counter. Two customers whispered. "Who is he?" "I don't know. But he's not normal." Daniel heard it. But ignored it. Because normal was never the goal. Outside. The same group of men hadn't left yet. They stood near their car. Arguing quietly. "He embarrassed us." "No," another said. "We embarrassed ourselves." Silence. Because deep down, they knew. One of them looked back at the cafe door. "Should we go apologize?" Another shook his head. "No," he said. "Guys like him don't care about apologies." A pause. "They care about respect." And none of them had earned it. Inside. Daniel stood up. Picked up the small bag.